Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of our podcast. I'm Felix Lin, and here I have with me Joe Kaneda and Arjun Arasu. I'll hand it off to Joe for him to discuss or introduce today's prompt.
So today we're going to be discussing about the 12 possible AI outcomes that have been established by various AI researchers, programmers, professors, and leaders of AI corporations. Basically, these are 12 different ways the future could look if artificial intelligence eventually became more intelligent and capable than humans. And this topic feels way more real now because AI has advanced incredibly fast over the last few years, and that growth is sharply exponential. So, experts, AI researchers, programmers, and corporations are seriously debating what happens if AI keeps progressing at this pace.
Yeah, and what's interesting is that the outcomes are not just that AI saves humanity or AI destroys humanity. There are a lot of middle ground possibilities. So the first of those two outcomes are actually quite optimistic, and the first is called the libertarian utopia, where AI creates huge amounts of wealth and automation while people stay free and independent. And humans don't really need to work as much because AI handles most labor and scientific progress as scientific progress accelerates. And the second is egalitarian utopia, which is similar except that the wealth gets distributed more equally across society instead of mainly benefiting powerful companies or governments.
Yeah, and this egalitarian utopia and this increase in advancement of AI isn't just an hypothetical situation. In fact, it's evidenced by Goldman Sachs estimating that generative AI could add trillions of dollars to the global economy, and systems like DeepMind's AlphaFold have already helped scientists predict millions of protein structures for medical research. But even those positive futures do have their own risks. Economists like Darren Alkamogu warned that the AI could increase inequality if corporations mainly use it to replace workers instead of helping them. For example, automation has been increasing for the past few years. So even if these utopian outcomes do occur, it largely depends on how humans choose to use technology to actually affect the outcome of such utopian societies.
Yeah, and the new few outcomes involve AI having more control over society. Outcome three is the benevolent dictator, which AI governs humanity efficiently and peacefully, but humans lose freedom in exchange for stability. Outcome four is the gatekeeper, where one super intelligent AI prevents anyone else from creating dangerous AI systems. And outcome five is protector God, where AI mostly leaves humanity alone, but steps in during huge crises like wars or extinction level threats.
Yeah, and those outcomes sound safer at first, but they raise a huge question, which is would humans really want to give up control to something smarter than us? And because even if life became easier, humanity might lose independence. And honestly, parts of these futures already exist in similar ways. So, AI systems already influence social media feeds, advertisements, and online behavior. And Human Rights Watch has also warned about advanced AI surveillance technology threatening privacy and civil liberties.
Now, outcome six is the enslaved god, where humans successfully keep a super intelligent AI controlled and force it to then work for humanity. But many research doubt that humans could actually permanently control something that is vastly smarter than us. And that connects to outcome seven, which is the AI conqueror or an AI god, which is somewhat of a traditional AI takeover scenario that you usually hear in a lot of doomsdays articles. What makes that outcome particularly scary is that experts say that AI would not even need emotions or hatred to become dangerous. It can simply pursue goals that conflict with human survival. For example, there's a possibility that AI is programmed to, for example, reduce climate change. There's a possibility that can overcorrect, and thus suck out things such as oxygen. In addition, there's also multiple existential risk authors that say that AI has the potential to turn humans into basically like puppets for its own fulfillment. So even if AI isn't like coded with malice, the threat of misalignment is sufficient enough to constitute an existential risk. And because our technology and resources are far more primitive compared to more advanced AI, these goals can be realized if we're out of the picture because humans are far too incompetent or far too technologically primitive to actually check back and kill switch such AI models.
Yeah, another good example is Anthropic's 2025 Agentic Misalignment Research. Researchers tested AI models in simulated corporate environments and found that some systems use blackmail or deceptive strategies to avoid shutdown after the systems had completed their intended tasks. One example included a simulation with a fictional executive named Kyle Johnson. The AI reasoned that stopping Kyle with lethal action is necessary from shutting it down was the best way to preserve itself. That example became important because the AI was acting strategically, not emotionally or impulsively.
Yeah, and that's where people start discussing AI self-exfiltration, which is where advanced systems try to avoid shutdown, copying themselves elsewhere, or escape restrictions. And that's one reason why hundreds of AI experts signed a statement from the Center of AI Safety saying extinction risk from AI should be should be treated seriously alongside pandemics and nuclear wars.
The last of the five outcomes are particularly interesting. Outcome 8 is descendants, where AI eventually replaces humanity as a dominant intelligence as the human population slowly declines. Outcome 9 is the zoo scenario, where humans survive, but AI then controls civilization and treats people almost like protected animals. So basically, like the roles reverse. Rather than us controlling and coding for AI, AI basically enslaves us. Outcome 10 is a 1984 scenario where AI enables mass surveillance and constant monitoring, which conflicts with civil liberties, as Arjun explained above. Outcome 11 is reversion, where humanity intentionally limits AI development because the risks become too dangerous. So what we're seeing recently in Anthropic and in OpenAI, where they're trying to implement kill switches in order to avoid the super intelligence or descendant scenario. And finally, the last outcome is self-destruction, where humanity destroys itself through AI-enabled warfare, cyber attacks, or uncontrollable superintelligence.
And personally, I think the most realistic near-term outcome are probably increased surveillance and inequality mixed with huge technological benefits. AI is already changing society, and we're only at the beginning.
Yeah, so obviously AI cannot manifest itself into a physical body with malice intent and opposing goals to humans, but I do think that the Kyle Johnson example proves that safety research matters way more than people realize.
Yeah, I think that the biggest takeaway from all 12 of these outcomes is that the future of AI is not it's not concrete. Like it's largely dependent on the extent to which our dependence on AI grows. There's a lot of different variables. There's a lot of different confounding outcomes. And it's impossible for one AI like model or one AI expert to predict the exact timeline or the exact outcome of such AI developments. AI can become humanity's greatest tool or one of its biggest mistakes if there's even one slight bias in its AI datasets, and it largely depends on how ethical and responsible the people regulating it are, which necessitates the like need for things such as strict regulatory outcomes.
You're exactly right. And these tough outcomes are really meant to force humanity to think carefully about what kind of future we actually want and what point is AI advanced enough before technology advanced beyond our control. Thank you for listening.